Hey guys, welcome back to Based MMA. In this video, guys, I'm gonna be breaking down UFC 293 with a special guest, my girlfriend, Mena.
Hi guys.
Yes, she's
He,
kind of shy right now.
he finally invited me to do one of these YouTube videos.
Yeah, I invited her to cover this amazing card that we have on our hands next Saturday. But you know, obviously, she's not too aware on all the fighters. I'm barely starting to get her into the UFC. She is familiar with some of the fighters, right? Like, Israel Adesanya.
No
I don't know
Strickland.
why the webpage is like this, guys. She knows Sean Strickland a little bit. I mean, I know you're not like too familiar with his fighting style. Guys, I don't know what happened to the UFC webpage. And then, have you seen Tuivasa? I don't think
He sounds familiar, but I don't know who he...
he's the guy that drinks like the beer out of his shoe.
You know what? I think he was, I don't know if he was a guest on one
see.
of another card. And then you mentioned
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you saw him fight, but I think I told you about it.
Yeah.
Or he got like knocked out in the first round. So yeah, guys. I mean, we'll just start off with the main event. And like I said, I don't know why the webpage is like this. We'll start with Adesanya versus Sean Strickland, which is the main event for this card. Um, who do you think is gonna win this one? Like, just be honest. Who do you think is gonna win this one?
I don't know who's gonna win, but for sure I'm like rooting for Strickland. Because
Yeah.
I don't like cheaters.
Yeah, we're not big fans of Adesanya, guys. But yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting fight just because obviously Israel Adesanya is coming off that KO over Alex Pereira in the rematch, you know what I'm saying, where I felt like he was losing that fight up until he landed that right hand that really knocked out Alex Pereira out cold. Prior to that fight, Adesanya, had lost to Pereira in November. And then prior to that, he had that stinker performance against Jerry Cannonier where the fight was super boring, guys. Like, I remember for that fight, I invited a lot of my friends to come watch because I was like, oh, it's the July card. Israel Adesanya versus Jerry Cannonier is going to be exciting. And I invited all my friends over who are like not big UFC fans. And the main event was so boring and I felt so embarrassed. Like, I was like, man, my friends probably think like they're probably like, man, this is what this guy spends his time watching. It's like, it's true. The meme of like when you watch fights by yourself, they're exciting, and then when you watch it with friends, they're like the most boring, lame ass fights. But yeah, guys, I just think that Israel Adesanya, I guess the point of that is that I feel he's a little bit of an inconsistent fighter where in some matchups he comes in like really on trying to knock out somebody out, and then in some he just kind of points fight, kind of leg kicks from a distance. He's had stinkers like the Yoel Romero fight and stuff like that. So, I feel like a lot of people are easily going to pick Adesanya to KO Sean Strickland. And I could see why. Because one, Sean Strickland, like, the guy fights like this. Like, he has like this shell like stance. He doesn't throw any leg kicks. You know what I'm saying? Which is a big problem against Israel Adesanya. Because with Israel Adesanya, one of the things that Alex Pereira did really well in that fight was that he stopped Adesanya's movement. Like, he completely neutralized the movement, which really helped Pereira start to be like being able to land strikes on the feet. Whereas somebody like Sean Strickland, I just don't see him being able to like do that. Like, Sean Strickland needs to impose a leg kick kind of plan, but Sean Strickland doesn't really throw leg kicks like that. You know what I'm saying? He's more of kind of like a boxer. He throws really good 1-2s, but I just think Adesanya's movement is gonna be too much of a problem. And even if he tries to wrestle, I just think that I don't think he's big enough to like maybe he'll try to wrestle, maybe get a takedown, but Adesanya's gonna get up, because Sean Strickland is a striker at the end of the day, and he's not a known grappler, and it's hard to be a striker and then all of a sudden just wrestle. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a pretty hard fight for Sean Strickland on paper. Um, I really don't see a lot of paths to victory. I mean, to be totally honest with you, if I was his coach, I would tell him like it's a kill or be killed kind of mindset. Like, don't try to point fight with Adesanya. You need to go out there and like bring it to this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't have any respect for his striking. Just rush him. Obviously, you still have to be defensively sound because then he still could get knocked out. And I would try to tell him like, don't go too hard in the first two rounds because Adesanya is one of those fighters that is really like he hits really hard in those first two rounds. Most of his finishes come in the first two rounds. So I don't know. I mean, like, what do you think of Sean Strickland? Like, he's your typical American,
I haven't seen Sean Strickland like actually fight, but I watched one of his conference with Adesanya.
Yeah.
And I feel like from what I get like determined from that is like he seems really confident. He talks a lot of shit, but then he comes to a point of like respecting him in a way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm kind of scared of. Like I feel like if you respect
Yeah.
a match too much, like it's not gonna end up well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point because I feel like you're right. Like where Sean Strickland is gonna be make fun of him at the press conference, but like you could tell he still respects like his skills.
An example of that would be like John Jones and Gain. Where
God.
Gain is like he like what's it called? He respected him too
Yeah,
much.
you respect him too much. And then you think like the moment's gonna catch up to him? Like when
Yeah.
he's there, he's gonna kind of like choke?
I don't know, but who knows? Strickland seems very American. Like no one fucks with him like that. He gives me that type of vibe as well.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Sean Strickland like in this fight is that everybody's underestimating him. Like we all think he's gonna lose, and when we all think someone's gonna lose, like it kind of takes pressure off the contender. You know, it takes pressure off Sean Strickland. And I think since, he might have a chance to pull a really big upset since we're underestimating him, I'm pretty sure like he's going to be fine with losing. He's going to get a big paycheck out of this. I feel like the pressure's more on Adesanya because like
That's true.
it's like you better destroy this guy because if you don't destroy Sean Strickland, then maybe you're falling off a little bit in his career. And I do think Adesanya is going to start to dip a little bit, but I just don't feel like Sean Strickland is the guy to beat him. I just don't. I might be Drickus or somebody else.
I can see that. Actually,
You know?
cannot see Strickland killing Adesanya. But I'm still rooting for him just because, like, I'm not a big supporter of Adesanya at all.
Yeah, we're big Israel Adesanya haters, guys. I'm not gonna try to be like objective and try to be like, oh no. No, I'm not a big fan of Adesanya, but obviously, like, I still have to be objective about the matchup. And I just think it's very hard for Sean Strickland to get this one done, just because, like I said, he doesn't throw a lot of leg kicks. I think the grappling is not his grappling is not to the level to be able to control an Israel Adesanya. Like we saw when Israel Adesanya got taken down, it was by bigger guys like Jan Blachowicz when he tried to move up to another division. So I feel like Sean Strickland is a little bit too small to be able to out-grapple Israel Adesanya for 5 rounds. And then on the feet, I just see him having a problem with the leg kicks. I don't know how he's going to answer to that. Like, yes, Sean Strickland just fought that Russian guy. What's his name? Abus. He fought that Russian guy that had like a 2-minute cardio. And that Russian guy was doing pretty good in the first round. But obviously he ran out of gas. Like that's not going to happen with Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya has been in a lot of 5-round fights. So I don't see him really getting tired in this fight. And like I said, I just think Sean Strickland's striking is not versatile or diverse enough to really make it dangerous for Israel Adesanya, guys. So unfortunately, I'm kind of with you there where I'm rooting for Sean Strickland. Like if he pulls the upset, like I'm going to be so happy. But I just don't see it. Like I know like the Aljamain is Sean. Like, okay, I get a lot of people are picking Aljo, but a lot of us knew that Sean O'Malley had a chance. Where in this one, like it's like not gonna lie, like it feels like it's not even that close.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I should see that.
Yeah. So that's kind of like my take in the main event. So I'm going with Adesanya. I think it's gonna go to a decision actually. I think just because a lot of people feel like Sean Strickland is gonna get knocked out pretty fast, I'm gonna go with Israel Adesanya by decision. Maybe just point fighting. Maybe just dominating the rounds. And maybe Sean Strickland will have good moments here and there where he catches him with a 1-2, maybe has him against the fence and stuff like that. But other than that, like I don't see Sean Strickland having a lot of success in this fight. And we also have to remember, guys, that Sean Strickland took this fight like a month ago, you know what I'm saying? So he hasn't really had like the time to really prepare for this matchup. And I think that's going to work to the advantage of Adesanya because this whole time he has been training knowing that he was going to fight in September, but not knowing his opponent, while the opponent now has to step in, train for a guy like Adesanya who requires like a lot of things that he needs to do for him to win this fight. I just think it's a lot for Sean Strickland, but I think all of us are probably looking forward to the press conference.
Yeah.
Like
Just because like they're not boring for sure.
Yeah, they're not boring,
Like,
and you're not going to talk smack.
Yeah, like you're making it look forward for people to watch this fight.
Yeah, and he's probably going to say some...
Strickland is so funny, I can't even lie.
He's going to say some slurs, and he might say the N-word.
He might even pull up the fact that he beats up to his dog.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And the anime stuff, I think he'll do that. Sorry guys, I received a phone call. But yeah, that's kind of my take on the main event. Anything else you want to say about the main event?
I can't really give like a prediction like that just because I haven't seen Sean Strickland fight.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna have to base it off decision as well. with him.
Yeah, he's kind of like, how would I describe his Sean Strickland's fighting style? He's kind of like a guy that just kind of walks. He's very like up straight, like he doesn't have like a wide stance, and then he kind of like just hits you like a 1-2. Like I would say he hits hard, but he's not like finishing. Like he goes to decision most of the
I
time.
like he's in like I feel like he's not like, for example, like he's just like just another UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Like he's just the original UFC fighter.
Yeah, where like isn't Yair has like very crazy striking.
Yeah, because like the new people coming up, I feel like they have more like more explosion.
More versatile. Yeah. He's not as explosive. You're right. That's a good point that I didn't bring up. Is that Sean Strickland does kind of seem to be a little bit slow twitch, where he's not like these like strikers where we see like even Pereira, like when Pereira would throw a leg kick, like he wouldn't telegraph it at all. He was very fast with his leg kicks, had a really good jab. I wish Pereira would have thrown a little bit more straight punches in that Israel Adesanya fight, because I feel like he kind of got too carried away with his hooks, man. Like I feel like Pereira, even though he has really nice hooks, he just throws them too much, and they're very easy to counter. Like like for example, the reason he got knocked out in that Adesanya rematch was because he I think it was 2 left hooks. He threw 1 left hook, and then he threw it again, and then he got countered. And I just feel like, and we also have to take in, I mean, I know you don't know this, but Sean Strickland got knocked out by Pereira in 1 round. So that's not a good sign for my boy Sean Strickland here.
Who knows? Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. That's true. It is MMA. Now moving on to the co-main, Tuivasa versus Alexander Volkov. This is a heavyweight bout, so these are the big boys. Big boys. This guy's very tall, 6'7", from Russia. This guy's from Australia, so he has like that home advantage. And then Tuivasa's coming off a loss. He lost in December against the Pavlovich guy. Remember this like this big white dude?
Like, I think I remember.
Yeah, Sergey. And then this guy's coming off a win where he beat this guy named Romania or something, the little chubby dude. But yeah, I know you haven't seen both of them fight. This guy's more of a, I would say, he's a knockout guy. Like he knocks people out. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like Tuivasa is a little bit underrated right now because of that loss to Pavlovich. Volkov, he hits pretty hard too, but he's more of a like a range, like kind of striker. You know what I'm saying? He kind of keeps his distance. I mean, he's knocked out people too, but he kind of goes to decision more.
Oh, I see.
He tends to dominate that way. And this guy is kind of more like explosive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's kind of like, well, obviously he's a chubby guy, but he hits very hard, very fast hands. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you guys, when it comes to this matchup, I think Tuivasa has had enough time off from fighting, because obviously he lost in December and he hasn't fought in what, like 9 months. I think that's enough time for him to recover his chin, and I think Tuivasa is actually gonna win this fight. Like I know a lot of people are picking Volkov to kind of dominate this fight and kind of maybe pick the later shots, but I think there's gonna be maybe Volkov is gonna be winning with the leg kicks, kind of moving around the cage, and I just see Tuivasa like exploding and catching him. I don't know why.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever since I thought about this fight, like I just see that scenario. So I think I'm gonna lean to my intuition here, and I'm gonna pick Tuivasa to knock out Volkov in the second round. I think that the first round is probably gonna go to Volkov. It's probably gonna be pretty competitive. Maybe Tuivasa landing some good shots on Volkov. Volkov kind of moving around, throwing some leg kicks. Maybe he's gonna try to grapple a little bit, and then Tuivasa stuffs the takedown. But I just see like a moment in the second round where Tuivasa is able to explode on him and land like a really good shot that like drops Volkov and then like lands like ground and pound shots. That's kind of how I see this fight playing out. So yeah, that's kind of. And now we got Manel Kape versus Felipe dos Santos. What do you think of this guy? What do you think of his physique?
His physique is.
You got no picture.
So unique.
He's 0-0-0. Never fought.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. This guy has fought, but he's making his UFC debut, guys. And I've seen Manel Kape fight. I saw his fight against Pantoja. I know he's lost some decisions. I mean, I know he hasn't had like a lot of fights in the UFC. Let me look at his most recent fight. David Dvorak. I have not seen that fight, but I saw his fight against Asian Patty. He knocked out Asian Patty in the first round. I saw his fight with Osborne as well. That was a pretty good KO with the flying knee. But yeah, guys, I actually think Manel Kape is like a pretty good contender in this division. But it sucks for him, man, because he was supposed to fight in July, and then his opponent pulled out, and then they put him in this card against Kai Kara France, and then Kai Kara France gets injured, so now someone else is stepping in. So I feel like this is like pretty bad luck for Manel Cap, because this guy should be fighting somebody ranked a little bit higher. Like he's number 10 in the flyweight division, and he's fighting a guy that's making his UFC debut. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not. But I've heard some good things. Like I haven't seen Felipe dos Santos fight, but I've heard people talk about him, and they were saying that he's pretty fast. You know, he has really good cardio and stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, it's kind of hard for me to make like a really in-depth prediction when I don't really know who Felipe dos Santos is. But I'm gonna go with Manel Cap just because he's a ranked flyweight. I've seen some of his fights, and he's pretty good flyweight. I could see him being like a top 5 flyweight in the future. And I hope that after this fight he gets like a good matchup to really like move him up in the division. Now moving on to this heavyweight bout between Justin Tafa and Austin Lane. They actually fought recently, guys. They actually fought in the Tapoya versus Emmett card, but it stopped because Austin Lane eye poked Justin Tafa, so they ruled it a no contest.
What?
Yeah. But prior to the fight, like Austin Lane was looking pretty good. Like he was looking pretty good, and Justin Tafa, like we just saw his brother fight last week. His brother got that first round KO over Parker Porter. He looked pretty good in that fight. But yeah, guys, to be totally honest with you, I think in the original matchup, the first fight, I picked Justin Tafa to win this fight, but I think I'm gonna go with Austin Lane just because I thought he looked good in that first round against him, and something about Justin Tafa, he looked a little bit like hesitant to me, like not scared. I don't want to say scared because none of these fighters are scared, but like he just looked a little, I don't know, like he looked like he didn't want to fight. I don't know. Maybe it was the day. Maybe he's gonna look better now that he's fighting in Australia, which is.
I think Austin Lane has a bigger advantage too.
Yeah, he's 6'6".
His reach is really good.
80-inch reach, 74-inch reach. That's pretty significant, guys. And you know, let me see who Justin Tafa has lost to. So Justin Tafa is coming off that win over Parker Porter. So he got that first round kill. So him and his brother have knocked out Parker Porter. And then he's coming off that win Hunsucker, first round KO. He lost the decision against Vendera. I think he got taken down a lot in this fight if I remember correctly. So when Justin Tafa loses, he's typically losing decisions. Yeah. So he hasn't gotten finished. Yeah, he hasn't gotten finished. Let me see Austin Lane. So he hasn't gotten finished. Oh wow, that was his UFC debut. Okay, yeah, guys, I was like, I've never seen Austin Lane like really fight prior to that first fight. So he was from the Contender Series. Yeah, I haven't seen his fights from the Contender Series. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's a heavyweight bout, right? So it's like a one punch. The fight could be ended. It's, heavyweight bouts are a gamble, guys.
They should end early.
They end early. There's always a knockout. But I think I'm gonna go with Austin Lane just based on what I saw in that first fight. I thought he looked good enough on the feet. He looked fast. He looked sharp. The reach was a problem for Justin Tafa, and I think he's gonna end up winning this fight. I think this fight is gonna be pretty close, and I think it's gonna go to a decision. To be honest.
Really?
I know it's kind of wild for a heavyweight bout, but I could kind of see that kind of fight.
Justin is very he could endure it much better. Like he has more
Yeah, I could see where like Austin Lane is like hitting him a lot, but like Justin Tafa is like very tough, and like he doesn't hit hard enough for him to knock it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like I feel like Justin Tafa is gonna be shelling up most of the time. Maybe lands like one, two good punches, and then like that'll be kind of a fight. Like I don't know why I see kind of a decision here, to be totally honest. Yeah. All right, guys. Moving on to Tyson Pedro versus Anton Turkal. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Probably not. Now, I've seen Tyson Pedro fight. I think he trains in the same gym as Israel Adesanya. He's coming off that loss to I saw that fight. I remember seeing that fight. I didn't think he looked too good. Yeah, he fought in the Volk versus Islam card.
But most of his
So he's a win lose lose win win. So he's kind of an inconsistent fighter here, based on what I'm seeing here. But I do remember seeing him fight in February. Now Anton, let me see his Petrino. Oh wow, so this guy's lost twice already. So I feel like they're giving him... Wait, he fought Almeida.
A submission.
Wait, this is a middleweight bout? Oh, light heavyweight. Okay. Yeah, guys, so... I mean, it seems like a mid-off. It seems like a mid-off because I just looked at both their resumes. It's not very great. Anton is coming off 2 losses in the UFC. When was the loss? March. So he lost in March and September.
Losing 2 in a row, I feel like it's
Yeah.
hard to come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like Almeida, he's a heavyweight now. Was this matchup at heavyweight? But yeah, I mean, he lost a decision in March. Tyson Pedro's coming off a loss too. So both these guys are coming off losses. But just, I think that the reason they gave Anton this matchup is probably because the UFC feels like Tyson Pedro can win. Because he's from Australia, you know? So if the fight takes place in Australia, I feel like they want to make the Australian crowd happy.
True.
You know, they kind of want to give a layup to their guy. So I'm going to go with Tyson Pedro to win this fight. But to be honest, like, I don't have an in-depth prediction for this fight. Like, I think Tyson Pedro is probably going to win. Now, Carlos Ulberg. Guys, I can't even speak right now. Carlos Ulberg versus South Korean guy.
Dawoonjong.
It's a brother, you know? My girlfriend's from South Korea. So, you familiar with this guy?
No.
Let's look at his... Okay, so he doesn't have that bad of a record. So he's coming off a loss. 2 losses. So he got knocked out 2 fights ago versus Jacoby. And then he lost the decision against Clark. Ooh, no, guys. No. I think they're giving Carlos Ulberg a layup here too as well. I've seen Carlos Ulberg fight. He's
6 wins by knockout.
Yeah, he typically fights in the prelims and gets like a first round KO.
Jeez.
Look at yeah. I've seen him fight. Looks pretty good, but I feel like they need to give him a test now. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good to put him at the beginning of these prelims because you get an early finish. He's been looking pretty good. Really tall guy, 6'4", 9 wins, 1 loss, 15 wins, 4 losses, and then 1 no contest. But yeah, guys, I think this is kind of very similar to the previous matchup we were talking about, where I feel like Carlos Ulberg is just gonna be not Carlos Ulberg, but I feel like the UFC is giving these Australians, New Zealanders, kind of like an easy matchup for them to win in their hometown. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
Jack Jenkins, this is a good fight actually. I think this might be like a very good fight. I've seen Jack Jenkins. He's pretty wild. Like he has pretty exciting fights. Last November, I remember that fight. I think he fought like this Asian dude. I don't want to say Korean, Japanese. He might have been Japanese. And they both dropped each other at the same time.
I think I remember
that was Jack Jenkins. He was in that fight. But yeah, guys, I think Chepe, let me see this guy. He has a lot of losses. Okay, so he's only fought once in the UFC. He's fought once. He got a victory, unanimous decision. But I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins, guys, because I feel like he's getting better. And he fought in the... When did he fight? He won a split decision. So he had a pretty close fight recently. And then he won in February in that Australia card. But I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins to win this fight. Probably like a first round. No, this has decision all over it. This looks like a decision fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. So I'm going to pick Jack Jenkins to win this fight. Well, why is my man so sad? Look at him. Jesus, guys. This card is... Okay, this card's embarrassing, guys. I'm not going to talk about this card no more. But, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on UFC 293, guys. Those are my thoughts on the card. What are your thoughts on the card overall? I mean, compared to the ones we kind of we've been watching recently.
I feel like this card is not disappointing, but it's just like...
Yeah.
It's not something that I would be too excited about. Like, you would be looking for it in the morning.
Yeah, the problem with this card, guys, is that it's not stacked.
Yeah, it's not stacked.
It's not stacked, and then the main event is not like it's like a competitive fight where you're like, oh, I'm excited to see that one. It's more like we're pretty much watching to see like Strickland, can he survive?
Can he survive?
Is he not gonna get knocked? Like that's what we're watching here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this card's you're a lot nicer than me. This card's absolute trash. It's horrendous. One of the worst cards. The only reason I'm watching it is because I'm a hardcore UFC fan and I'm always gonna be curious. But like, if I wasn't a UFC fan, I would think this card is absolute trash, guys. So I think this card is horrendous. Horrendous in my opinion. Worst card of the year, easily. But yeah, guys, that's just kind of my take on this card. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It was really fun to do this video with my girlfriend. Please keep it nice in the comments.
Please.
Please make sure to like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.